Alright guys, it's been a weird few days. I come and just bounce all over the place, and I actually haven't been doing a lot of filming, but so I got this door on. I got all the bodywork done on the quarter. I think I showed that in the last one. And then you know, I started just doing a little bit of screwing around in here. When I got this thing, it had rockers installed, but they were just, you can see how the front is, it was just kind of tacked together. So I did the back section here, and I just put some fiberglass on it to make it look nice, and then I put a little patch in there and welded up. That's where the old 4-door post was. And then I had to do in here, actually I was trying to take the skin out. This is the first one, so I cut right through that. But lesson learned there. And now, actually the guy I got the flip front end from was super knowledgeable on 4-door, 2-door conversions. So this is what he said. He just put some kitty hair fiberglass in there and kind of smushed it in there. So I had a few tack welds and then just did that. And I'll bring that all down to basically metal again, but up in the, I guess, a little crevice there will be full of fiberglass, so that'll be good. And then on the inside, I seam sealed everything. I put in that little wheel well patch, which I had chopped out, and I had to put a little floor patch in. I just joined it right to the quarter. I'm not too sure what factory is, but that's what I did. And then painted it black, so it's pretty much ready to go there. So my next project is to try and get the factory piece together. So I don't know what I'm going to do here. I guess if you flip on the other side, it was one piece of the wheel tub. So I'm going to end up just cutting it out, leaving a little strip to weld, and uncut the right out on the back side. And the bottom was rotted, so I'll just cut it straight across, and I'll have to put a piece in there. Once it's in, join it to the floor. The big thing is, I guess, how much of the back I'm going to end up keeping and whatnot. And while it's all apart, I'll clean up the regulator and, you know, grind it all down, all the edges to metal, so it should fit. So that's what I'm going to get going to. So once I get it all cut down, I'll show you where I'm at and see how it fits in the car. Alright, we'll see how this goes. So inside here, because this section of the car is still 4-door, it would have had that little quarter window which went from here to here. So there was no channel cut out for where the window would go, so I cut that out and chopped into there. Kind of, I guess I just guessed it. This is the original piece, which I obviously didn't use. So in this one, the piece went all the way around and the channel would have run up here, so I had to cut all that out. So I used this as a bit of a template to get me an idea of where to get that with the zip cut. And on this one, when I had the 2-door, this section here actually sits behind the bracing for where the back seat would be, and actually into the inner quarter panel there. So I chopped it around as best as I could, but maintaining where the back of the window regulator went. And then just kind of test it has to fit in the back first. Something about like that. So that's about eyeballed in where it should be. So you can kind of see what I'm working with there. I'm going off of that as a pretty big reference point. So I'm going to do this with just one hand. And then you can see where I'd cut it there. So I'm going to join all those back up. And once that's fairly close, then obviously the back should line up, and I'll make sure it keeps the same distance away. And then in here, I'm going to have to get creative in there, I guess, a little bit with some welding and stuff like that. Otherwise, I'm just going to trace a line down on the wheel tub, grind a little slit in there, weld that back in with a few tack welds there. And then the bottom, once it's at the proper height, you can see it's got a bit of a space there, probably 1.5 or 2 inches. I'll have to make some sort of a little join, tack that in, seam seal it all up, and it should work just good. So I'll get working on this. I'll get a few tack welds on there so you can kind of show what I'm doing here, and we'll go from there. I've got this fit kind of where I want. I've had it in and out of the car a few times, that's for sure, but I'll just kind of show you how I got it to work. The window channel is just kind of sitting there, but overall The glass goes all the way up in place, which is nice. All the way back down. This I have to attach because this is the original 4-door section, so I have to do that. Take it in here. So pretty simple. I just gotta, you know, finish weld it all in there. In the back, there's actually a pile of structure in this rear pillar, so I had to cut a little access hole, and I actually kept the piece right here, so I'll end up kind of welding that back in, because as you can see in the back, when the window goes up and down, it really has a lot of movement in there, and this window channel will keep it away from from that when it's all installed properly. So that's that. So I got to come in, weld it all in there. I got to make some thing there so it attaches down to the floor for some strength. Otherwise it should be pretty good. And then once I get this piece welded back on, I have this little trim panel, and it'll just kind of hide everything up there, so it should look pretty good. So you can see just a little bit of it sneaks out the back, so once I weld that piece in, it'll be basically like factory. So I'll get this all welded in, I'll get the bottom done, seam sealed, and then I'll show you guys how I ended up. Alright, so I got it all in there. I just, you know, seam sealed around all the edges and whatnot, gave it a quick coat of flat black. I just put the molding in there just to make sure everything was going to be covered up all nice, but it sure turned out okay, I think. I mean, it's not perfect. I ended up using the patches down here actually off the roof of the 2-door, but considering this was a 4-door car just a few weeks ago, it's turned out okay. Window goes up and down. I double checked that a few times over before I burned it all in permanently, but that should work out great. And once the seat's in here and all that, I'll have to make some sort of a door panel or do something, but it worked out good. So yeah, that's that. I'm going to get to working on the rockers next and whatnot, so stay tuned for that. Alright, so I got the back all done, all the structure on for the window regulator. So now I'm going to start working on is the sills. So when I got the car, the rockers were welded on. They were just welded right on top of, I guess, whatever good metal was there. So instead of kind of cutting it all out, I guess I kind of cheated it. I just welded it all in proper because it was actually just tack welded in. And then I just put some fiberglass on it to, you know, kind of strengthen it up. So right there you can hardly see where it was. And then back here, obviously, this is where the original post was. So I welded a few patches in there, covered it up, and that was the end of it. Kind of like up in there, same idea, just to make it look nice and smooth, be good enough. It's not a show car, right? So gaskets are supposed to be rough around the edges, but I just want it to look too ugly. So that should be that. I'm going to get to sanding, and I'll show you guys what it looks like when I'm all done. So there we have it. Pretty boring night here, so I didn't film a whole lot of it. Obviously, filler on, sand it off until it looks less crappy. So that's that. So it's basically done the whole way around. And then I got in here, so I just kind of filled in the way around. And then this section here is obviously where it joined. So it's going to be a little bit of sculpting going on there. And then I'm probably going to start working on this section here next. That's where I joined the two panels together. It's got a bit of a high spot. I'll have to knock it down first. Otherwise, it's getting there. And then this side's pretty much ready for primer. So it's working out pretty good. So I gave the sill a quick shot of primer. It's still not perfect, but it's good enough for now. Keep on going. I sanded down all around here. I kind of shaped this in so it looks decent. Gave this quick coat, and while I was in there, I just finished up the little support there. So I'm going to prime this up real quick for tonight. I'll show you how it turns out, and then I'm going to call it. So see you guys in 2 seconds here with some paint on the car. All right, here we go. So the bottom's done, all primered around there. Definitely not perfect, still has a few more body lines I gotta sharpen up and everything. And there's a lot of just old paint I went over with the primer, but I didn't want any bare metal. I still have some finishing to do on the inside. But it's got the overall look to it. I'm supposed to get the new panels tomorrow, hopefully, for the other side. So I can start putting in the quarters and the wheel wells and all that and carry on. So worked out pretty good. And the door on the other side's actually in really good shape. And the fender and all that fits better on that side anyways. So plus I've done it before, so the driver's side should go a lot quicker. I'm sure I won't make such a crazy video on that. You've already seen it on this side, but that's how it is.